India doesn't have so much of good EV infrastructure still in 40 years.
We have just implemented EV.
Class, upper middle class, and the rich class of the India, they are very much hesitant to travel into public transport. Why?
No, today I would say Ahmedabad.
It's easy, still people are
No,
hesitant who have
people.
the private vehicles.
No, sometimes if at certain time if there is an importance, but if someone has to go and work there for the whole day, right? If someone will have to move from one place to another, they use the vehicle.
India might be having its first bullet train in 2027.
Yeah.
Japan did it in 1964. We are doing the bullet train in 2027. Isn't that a big gap?
But there are many reasons. As I said, one is at what given time what a country can afford. If the economy is growing, right, you can adapt anything fast.
India and Europe trade deal, which will be coming into shape by 2027.
I think it is one of the great deal what India has made.
But they couldn't compete Germany into the auto.
First of all, the US also has a quite a great infrastructure, and
Beneficial it will be to go for the vertical parking in those areas because the ground space is not enough, right?
ample room for the parking. So these vehicles can be easily parked.
So you think that cultural discipline is very important?
सब कुछ चल जाएगा, मैनेज हो जाएगा, बॉस भी मैनेज हो जाएगा.
One word for Nepal Gen Z movement.
No comment.
Hi everyone, I'm very happy to introduce my first podcast and first episode of Business and Beyond. They say charity begins at home. So I have my first guest who is my own mentor, and he has been a very important part of my life, the business life so far. So I would like to introduce you to Mr. Kartik Kothari, who is Chairman and Managing Director of Newturn Group of Companies. Newturn Group of Companies is actively working into parking industry since last 20 years. I thank you so much, sir. We
Thank you.
welcome you to our podcast as our first guest, and we would love to have some lovely conversations with you regarding the parking and traffic industry.
Thank you very much for inviting me, and looking forward to have a great podcast.
Okay, sir. So, in your 40 years of vast experience, you have been connected with the automobile industry so far. So, I would like to ask you, what changes you have seen in these 40 years? How India has changed into automobile sector in last 40 years?
40 years, I would say, from a carburetor engine to the MPFI engine, from a carburetor engine to the CRDI engines, the tires, the engines, the suspensions, the roads, everything has been a great change. From the automobile industry, from I think AC unit of the car vehicle to the today's AC unit, everything has changed. The driving conditions has changed. The roads have changed. Accordingly, the vehicles have changed.
What are the prominent changes you see in the automobile industry? Like when I say 40 years before and now. So what are the main changes you feel that there are prominent into automobile industry so far?
The most important part is the roads, the infrastructure. There were single lane roads, now there are 2 lane roads, now there are 4 lane roads, again happening 6 lane roads. So the movement of the vehicle from the truck industry to the passenger vehicles have become much faster.
Okay, I would
The
like
cities have come closer. The most important part is the cities have become closer, and that has also, this growth of infrastructure has changed so many dimensions into business.
I would like to ask you that it's been like 15 years for a USA that they are into EV and they are into pollution control. Um, even the countries like China is, correcting their AQI, and that is a burning topic right now for India. So why India doesn't have so much of good EV infrastructure still in 40 years?
We have just implemented EV, and this will be a tremendous growth. It takes some time for any country to implement a new concepts or a new technology. We were not equipped, but now we are fully equipped. You see now the EV vehicles population is growing. EV chargers across, you see on the highways, you see on the petrol pumps, you see at various uh, out places. There are a lot of EV chargers now. Even in the construction industry, government is asking every developer to have a EV charging units. So it means that we have adapted. The most important to see on the positive side is we are adapting the new changes. India is adapting the new changes, and that is the most important part for, I would say, every citizens of India, that these changes brings them the new things. Today, the new vehicles of EV are coming. People are accepting it. People are using it. It is also saving a lot of fuel.
So do you think more EV cars is going to be more traffic on the roads?
More traffic cannot be only because of EV vehicles. More traffic is because the better infrastructure the country gives, people try to use more vehicles to travel. The conveniency of the use of the vehicle. Like today, if somebody from Ahmedabad to Baroda used to take 2.5, 3 hours. Now it is 1 hour. So people are more comfortable rather going to the railway station or taking a bus. For them, they have now their own vehicles and they can just drive to Baroda within 1 hour. So these are the changes. So more vehicles is obviously a more growth for the country also.
So as more vehicles are on the road, there is more congestion and more traffic on the roads. So what are the other reasons do you feel we have so much of traffic jams on the road in the cities like Bengaluru, Pune, if you see? Ahmedabad is slowly coming up with those congestions in the traffic. So what are
Yeah,
the reasons?
because the way the vehicle population is going, the city infrastructure growth is comparatively slow. Today, if the vehicle population is growing by 60% in a city, the infrastructure has to grow actually by 80% or 100% because you have to calculate, say, 5 years down the line also, what will be the position of the city.
So though we do have this much of infrastructure budget allocated for infrastructure development, you still think the infrastructure development is still slow in the country like India?
No infrastructure, we have been, if you study last 14 or 15 years, the infrastructure boost is very high. But we are a densely populated country. Also now, India's GDP and average earning income is changing. So everyone is easily getting a vehicle available. So to match this, both the things, and especially city, this is where I feel a crux is there. But it all depends on, again, a civic authorities, certain means and ways how to control traffic,
So
how to plan traffic.
considering the population, China is equal to India into population so far. Maybe China in past had a more population than India.
Yeah.
But if you see the transportation and infrastructure growth into China 20 years back and now, it's a huge difference. What do you want to say about that?
It will be wrong to compare China with India because China, what they did is really amazing. They had, when they start developing, they thought 15 years beyond and made highways, railway infrastructure, metro systems, everything, and still it is making. Like China started with Beijing, Shenzhen, Guangzhou, Shanghai, and then into smaller cities, right? India also started. If you see We had implemented metro in Calcutta long back. Bombay has been there. Delhi has been there. But still, city will need more and more infrastructure. And in last 14 years or 15 years, I say this infrastructure is growing also, which is a very positive sign. And this is a continuous process for every country, because this infrastructure should not be limited to a metro or a bigger cities, A tier or B tier cities. It should go to the cities like even Jabalpur also, and Ranchi also, and I would say Trivandrum also. So every city is going to grow.
But you have been a regular visitor to China since, I must say, 25 years. What China has done differently, which India is not still able to do it, in as far as the infrastructure and the traffic is concerned. I'm not talking about any other issues, but specifically the infrastructure and the traffic.
Now, as I said, that China, when they planned, there are many reasons to it. Uh, First of all, China became a world factory. They wanted to be an export-oriented nation. There was R&B control. They were more earning in dollars. And in this process, they created an infrastructure with that vision, that how from a factory a container shifts to the barges, and this barges connects it to the port. So how vehicles are not used for container transport but use barges. Second important part, China had vision to think for 15 years with that point of view, that what will be the vehicle population. And accordingly, with the vehicle population, they had planned 8 lanes roads when they started building. India from 2 lane to 4 lane to 8 lanes. There is a process, but it also depends on the budget and also what country can afford. Like in Germany, autobahns were there in World War II time. Now, that was something very unique. That in 45s and 47s, there were autobahns with 8 lane roads, with high speed cars. But in India, we did not have a high speed cars. With the development of infrastructure, now there are high speed cars.
So you are trying to say that public transportation system is also very important if you want to, consider the traffic issues into any country. So China has developed so far much more, better advanced public transportation systems into its country.
I would not better or something like that, but I would say, yeah, they have definitely focused on that much before. So they have been advanced to us on this pattern. But today, if I see, as far as the India is concerned, now uh, we have metros in so many cities. In cities like Jaipur, now Surat is going to come.
But still,
Ahmedabad we
still,
have.
if you consider the middle class, upper middle class, and the rich class of the India, they are very much hesitant to travel into public transport. Why?
No, today I would say Ahmedabad. I have a lot of my friends who go to the factory via metro. It's more convenient and more cheaper also. You save fuel also. Today, Ahmedabad metro is widely accepted. If someone has to go to Gandhinagar, you travel and you take, now by the traffic, you take almost an hour or more maybe through going till the gift city. But you go via metro, you are there in 25 minutes. It's very easy.
It's easy, still people are
No,
hesitant who
people,
have the private vehicles.
no, sometimes if at certain time if there is an importance, but if someone has to go and work there for the whole day, right? If someone will have to move from one place to another, they use the vehicle.
How many times have you personally visited the Ahmedabad metro?
I have visited metro a lot of times. Whenever I travel to out of station via train, I use metro, which is nearer to my home. I take a metro or even I come by metro. Say from a railway station to my home, it takes 1 hour, 10 minutes or 20 minutes by traffic. The metro brings me in just 20 minutes. So from a station, if I catch a metro, I come home very easily and without a traffic.
So you think that we need more public transportation systems into India if you want to address the issue of traffic and maybe the AQI?
Yeah, more public transport is also about reaching to the more people. More important is to understand that, like when Delhi Metro started, it was to like there is always a phases. Like even Ahmedabad Metro, there are phases: first phase, second phase, third phase. So it's about how deep you reach across the city through the public transport. Look, when BRTS started, a lot of people had issues regarding BRTS. Now BRTS is, if you see, it's always loaded, and it is, I think, best used also in Delhi also, in Ahmedabad also, in other places also.
So you think that high-speed transportation systems are equally important for our country if we want more people to travel by it day to day?
Yeah, because first it makes you reach in time, and that is the first foremost thing. Because when it makes you reach in time, you can attend your office in time, you can attend your meetings in time, and there is more connectivity also.
Okay, considering the high-speed transportation systems, India might be having its first bullet train in 2027.
Yeah,
Japan being the pioneer into it, it had its first bullet train in 1964.
yeah.
How Japan was so advanced in that time?
Bullet train in Japan is called Shinkansen, and say if you take an example of Japan, say after World War II, it was quite a devastated country. We know the history. I think the people who had a clear thought in their mind that we want to come out of this and develop this country and prove ourselves into the world, that passion of making a country, that change the whole concept of Japanese working. And I was recently in Japan, and I was shocked to see that the office starts at 8 and people ensure that they are there at 8 o'clock. They give their full dedication. They wanted to be into the world. So today, how the electronics came, that was the first development. Then the automobile revolution in Japan, like Toyota, Honda, and other car manufacturers. Today, Suzuki, which is widely accepted in our country, and even Toyota and Honda and every Japanese car manufacturer across the world. So all this development, it is the people who builds the nation. It's like when you say, when we say some companies are working good or some companies are not, I would say it is a team who builds the company. Organization is built by the people. Same way the country is also built by the people. And hence this revolution is a revolution of people of Japan of creation of bullet train.
Considering it like China has done the testing of its very high bullet train, which is approximately 600 kilometers per hour running. Do you think it is possible in near future in India too?
Yeah, today if you will see what is going to come in India will be, previously it was a long time that something which, as you said, bullet train from 64 to 2026, a very long time. But now, whatever the developments is, say if you take even a case of AI or any such things, or semiconductor industry, so this will be adaptable because India is now a fastest growing economy.
How much time India will take to adapt it? Japan did it in 1964. We are doing the bullet train in 2027. isn't that a big gap?
There are many reasons. As I said, one is at what given time what a country can afford. If the economy is growing, right, you can adapt anything fast. If the economy is slow, you cannot adapt because you cannot afford it. So it is all on the economy that when economy grows, your adaptability and your buying power goes more. Previously, it was not in the case of India because the economy was slow and the buying power was slow and less also. Today, so if anything is coming, you will see immediately in a short time things coming in India.
Okay, so at one part we are talking about the public transport sector, which is growing at this high speed into India. At the other level, we do have the personal vehicles and personal cars. And when we talk about the personal cars and technology into cars in automobile, it's always about Germany. If you see Mercedes Benz, BMW, everything is of a Germany, and India is the biggest consumer market for them. Maybe the India and Europe trade deal, which will be coming into shape by 2027, will also affect positively the automobile import market. What do you want to say about it?
I think it is one of the great deal what India has made. This will benefit uh, Germany, yeah, because as I said to you in my previous points that they had autobahns since 45, 47, which were high-speed autobahns.
But why, as far as the advanced technology into automobile is concerned, why is always Germany? Um, why not any other country like US
Germany,
or China
Germany,
or
not only for automobiles. Germany is known for medical equipments,
no? But I'm considering
automobile.
I'm talking about only the automobile
It
industry.
is every country has worked in their own way for a certain, I think, product.
USA tried to dominate that market through Ford and the other cars, but they couldn't. I just want to know what is the difference, like what Germany is doing differently to dominate the automobile market.
Germany made a robust engineering, and Germans are known for a very precision engineering, and the most important part, long lasting. If you see any German product, it's quite a long lasting. Any machinery would have a problem because after it's a machine, there you need to service the vehicle or even any other machinery needs calibrations or whatever it's to be done. But it's a long lasting, and Germany has mastered this. Today, why BMW is a brand or why Mercedes is a brand is not only any product is not does not only move by marketing. After all, the product has to prove in the market. The product has needs to prove, yeah, this is what we are, and that's why we are called German, and that has been proven. As far as the US, US had a General Motors, had a Ford.
But they couldn't compete Germany into the automobile
First of all,
sector.
no. First of all, the US also has a quite a great infrastructure and uh, speed highways and everything. There were German cars, but the actual market of USA is taken over by Japanese. As far as the Toyota is concerned, Nissan is concerned, and so this is all about this. If you say again a high-speed car, there is Italy. You have say Ferrari. You see Aston Martin, Bugatti. So these are again the very high-speed vehicles of Italy, but in a very high luxury segment. Touching a speed of 400 kilometers is not a joke.
So do you think that segment of Aston Martin, Bugatti, and Ferrari is also um, going to be cheaper in India after this US Europe, sorry, India
Yeah,
Europe trade deal?
obviously today Maserati, Bugatti, or Ferrari would become cheaper after EU deal.
But this kind of sports car has very low ground clearance. Do you think our Indian infrastructure is appropriate for those kind of cars?
Uh, yeah, that's a nice question. Especially these cars are used by, I would say, a certain segment of the people.
The ultra high rich
Yeah, ultra high.
segment,
And
HNIs.
yeah, so one is that. And the real driving pleasure of this car is on highways, according to me, not into the cities. You can't drive a Ferrari in a city, and you can't
Indian
enjoy
city specifically.
any cities of India and enjoy a speed of 200 kilometers.
Per
For that, you have to take it to the highway and drive from Ahmedabad to Udaipur and enjoy that ride.
Okay, so now we keep the private transportation vehicles aside, and we again come back to public transportation sector. The smartest digitalized public transport systems into countries like Singapore, London, Shenzhen are far advanced than India, because they are using the technology, apps, AI to easily access those systems. But in India, if you see, if you want to book the train Vande Bharat, we don't know how to book it online right now, other than going for the dedicated app which the railway has designed for that. If you want to access BRTS, AMTS into Ahmedabad, we don't have any online system to book, or maybe to know the timings of those buses and all. So, what is stopping India to develop and digitalize all these booking platforms into transportation
First of all, let's
industry?
understand this question is a two part. If you say Copenhagen, London, or any such thing. Today,
As far as, sorry to cut you, as far as I know, those countries who have developed public transport sector and where people are using more public transport into those countries, they have a single app to know about the public transportation sector everywhere into that country.
yeah,
We don't have that one way window into India.
so today to book a Vande Bharat or anything is very easy. You go to the app, you download it, and it's very easy. You
But
can
still,
book the
there are different
tickets.
different apps, right? Not one way window
Vande
to
Bharat,
access the
railway,
all
you
public
you
transportation
book it through the
system.
railway app. It's very easy. You book through. Yeah, your point is right. As far as if somebody lands to Ahmedabad, and which public transport he has to use, or to go from one place to another, or what are the metro routes of Ahmedabad, what are the BRTS routes of Ahmedabad,
Yes.
what are the other public transport routes. Yeah, I think that part in coming time should get developed because this will be required. But what I understand, such apps are available for Delhi, Bangalore, and Bombay. You have it. So you can easily assess to know that this is possible. Like if you want to go from Chembur to Churchgate, so what are the metro train timings and everything. But other thing is also there, which because this area is controlled or comes under the government, like BRTS comes under the municipal corporation, the metro comes under the railway, and Vande Bharat or other trains come here. And again, this is by the employees which are there. But in other countries, this is quite been privatized.
Taking this complication one step ahead, if you see about the parking, right? There are many public parkings available into cities like Ahmedabad, Bangalore, Pune. But people again don't have the access. They don't know the information about those parking. Recently, I've been asking to one of my friend that there is a parking, multi-level car parking by AMC on Sindhu Bhavan Road, and he didn't know about it. That this kind of parking exists onto Sindhu Bhavan Road. So why we can't do it digitalized to make people aware about those multi-level car parkings which are there by the government?
This needs to be brought into the public. And second thing also, I would say a strong laws or enforcement to stop the parking of vehicles on the road. That will only push people into the parking areas. We have a tendency because to park the vehicle as the space is available outside, and then we immediately move because the nearest approach is we want to go to the ground floor shop, and if I park the vehicle in a public parking, might have to walk for 1 kilometers.
So, do you think parking spaces are limited into the cities where there is a parking problem, or parking spaces are available but access to it is limited?
I think parks in certain areas it is quite easy, but in certain dense areas it is truly difficult to park a vehicle, even a two-wheeler. And I think for sure the civic authorities have to definitely do some brainstorming to really understand and take the help of consultancy or some good consultants to understand what can be the solutions possible.
Okay, I would like to ask one question from your industry, which is a multi-level or a vertical car parking, right? If we consider the dense area and the dense population into cities where the parking is definitely an issue, so how beneficial it will be to go for the vertical parking in those areas? Because the ground space is not enough, right?
Yeah, so we have been doing this since quite a time, and I think with every basement which is more and more happening, and now even the podiums which are being allowed by the civic authorities, so there is ample room for the parking. So these vehicles can be easily parked. Also, with the new, I think, development, there is enough space coming for visitor parking. Yeah, people will have to adapt it. People will have to use it. People have to ensure they are maintained also, and they are into a proper maintenance zone also. And then only this is possible to make it successful.
So, coming to that point, civic sense is very important. You are trying to say that when it's about a vertical parking or accessing the parking or traffic on the roads. So, as Indians, where how much we are lacking into civic sense compared to the developed countries like USA, China?
Yeah, we are honestly we are lacking huge.
Huge.
We are lacking huge because as far as discipline is concerned, civic sense is concerned. Look, any government can create wonderful things for the citizens. People have a habit to blame governments. They don't see what government has created, what corporations have created. But you yourself are not using it in a right way, not maintaining the discipline. I mean, today, if there is a signal at the crossroad, what happens? People still want to drive from
And
the
how about the
yellow.
developed countries? What is the difference in them?
They are born and brought up and developed in such a way that this is my country. If I do this, then my country will be looked bad. I see a lot of young guys who are migrating from India to USA. Who are in India, they are very undisciplined in work, in office timings, in everything, right? And even as far as civic discipline or even traffic control is there or driving is there, everything. Now this young guy is going to USA.
They are following the same traffic rules very properly.
They will not be 5 minutes late in the office because there is a fear. The system says here in our world, the problem is we think सब कुछ चल जाएगा, मैनेज हो जाएगा, बॉस भी मैनेज हो जाएगा, और मैक्सिमम क्या बोलूँगा, मम्मी बीमार हो गई थी, पापा बीमार हो गए थे, टायर पंचर हो गया था. Now these are the things, the difference, where across the other part of the world, nobody is going to listen you. They will say this is what you need and this the system demands.
So you think that cultural discipline is very important?
Yeah. And second important part is very important is, as I said, Whatever you are doing, if you think first, what I am doing, am I doing good for my country? How my country will be looked?
True that.
Now, if you think like that, automatically you will have a positive sense to do things right. Now, that is a difference, and that is a reason of this, as you were saying, about adaptability. And today, okay, the government said, today take this magnetic train. But one has to,
Follow the discipline, rules, regulation, civic sense to
yeah,
not spoil it.
right. In Japan, every day to day metros, because public transport is highly used, if you see, there is more rush of in the cabins and more people in the cabins even than Bombay trains.
So, what are the dangers do you think we'll face in the upcoming time if we are going on a very large level of great public transportation systems, great infrastructure, but not following the civic sense? Or the normal Indian is not following the traffic rules, automobile rules properly. Uh,
Look now,
what are
now,
the danger?
now with the new technologies like ANPR cameras and all this, on-road cameras and everything, people get e-challans. So not following, I strongly believe government has to go more
Strict.
strict. You have to make them follow. People in our country do not like that I have been asked. So there is no other alternative.
But the public has, another point of view that government is implementing this many taxes, into automobile sector. If you consider the vehicles, if you consider the public transport, government is already taking this many taxes. Why we have to give fines?
Look, you are fine is for not following the discipline and the system what is being set to control the traffic, to ensure that there is no chaos of traffic. As far as the taxes is concerned, that is a moral responsibility of every citizen to pay the tax if he comes under that tax structure.
So you are trying to say that taxes should not be an excuse to not follow the civic sense.
People has to understand taxes is for the infrastructure of the country. Taxes are paid for the security of the country. Taxes are paid for that soldiers who are guarding us. Taxes are paid for those policemen who are there at the traffic signals. Taxes are paid to develop sports complexes. Taxis are there to develop gardens. Taxis are there to develop forest. Taxis are is not the only the way you think positive. You can do positive for the country. And accordingly, say today, if you go to any country, in parks you just can't throw a piece of paper.
So public still have a complaint like, with this many taxes, we are not having the infrastructure like a developed countries. Do you think that's a myth?
No, if you see, it's other way to see. How many percentage of people in India are paying taxes?
True that.
And other way to think is how many percentage of people in Singapore or USA or China are paying
Huge
taxes?
difference.
So what can government do? We are we want problem with us or ourselves is we want everything to be get done by our bosses, by our government. We don't want to do anything.
Okay.
We have to stand tall for our own country. If that is the point which everyone understands, I have to stand tall for my country. Taxes is so important. Government needs taxes for all this development, for ports, for airports, for railways. You want good trains. You want you as you said. You want magnetic trains. You want bullet trains. How this will come?
Okay. There is a data that in last 10 to 15 years, so many Indian HNIs have surrendered the Indian residency and moved to other countries like London and USA.
No, not really. It's the data shows other way around. There are more influx in India. People are leaving other countries to come back to India and settle down. That is what my data says.
Okay, so you are
Because
one of
you are
them.
you are saying about a very small percentage, and because of maybe XYZ reasons, and these people have moved. But and those I think are people who could be because of any such economic issues or political issues or any such things.
Contradictory to my statement, you yourself has surrendered your US residency and stayed back in India.
Yeah.
What has made you do so?
First of all, I love this country. It's my country. Second thing is, I have been to US number of times. I have always felt it's quite a mechanical life, and no doubt, technology, everything at that given time was much ahead in that way. But quite a mechanical life. I'm a man who likes to live my life, to do good business, to create friends, to enjoy the country or the places. And the most important part which I saw in last when I surrendered my US residentship, that India is definitely a growing market. There is a lot of scope.
So, what are the real scopes you see into Indian market in next 10 to 15 years, considering specifically the automobile industry and the traffic infrastructure?
I think it's a huge will grow up more than 60-70% than what it is today, because there's going to be a huge market. As you say now, there's a EU deal, so more vehicles. If you see the trucks which were there before, and you see the new trucks, infrastructure, how it has changed. The infrastructure has changed the automobile. Now, from how many ports were there before? You see how many ports are there today.
I'm asking you that in next 10 to 15 years, what changes you are seeing in
The
India?
changes will be on the technology side. The changes would be on more vehicles coming in, more infrastructure coming up. So the changes would be huge. More cities getting connected, like airports, new airports. There will be more connectivity between the cities. So a small town will have an airport. So for that town to develop into a business will be very easy when you connect it to the other city.
So you think from the smaller regions of India, people will have the more opportunity, the youth will have more opportunities to, get themselves connected to the urban area and get the
Absolutely,
employment in those sector as far
absolutely.
as the
Because
public
this,
transport sector development is
yeah,
concerned.
because it happens more. Even the small towns turns into cities. The people will get more access. Will be easy to travel. They don't like today. Once up, I mean, I would say, 25 years down the line. Can you believe that Ahmedabad to Udaipur was taking 7.5 to 8 hours
Hmm.
of travel time, with right with one lane road. Today you are there in 3.5 hours in Udaipur. You can go there, complete a work, and come back in the evening. So how fast the mobility is, how fast the business can expand. Same way for Udaipur guy to come to Ahmedabad, do the work and go back. You don't need to stay in a hotel. Your money is saved, and this is thanks to this infrastructure. The movement
Understood.
of people has been a huge from one city to another. Like bullet train. People will go in the morning, finish the work, and come back to Ahmedabad.
Considering the transport system and the growth of infrastructure, everything is fine. But to run this huge system and network, we need oil. So I'm coming to that point where USA and India has done one trade deal, uh, where the imports of USA will be free into India, and the imports from India will be charged 18% in USA. That's not my main concern about the imports, but my main concern is the base of this deal has been done on that condition that India will stop buying the oil from Russia, which India has been doing since many decades. You know, they have a very good. India has a very good political friendship with Russia, and the oil which we are buying from the Russia is cheaper. But with this trade deal, India has to stop buying oil from Russia, and they have to buy the oil from USA and Venezuela, which will be much higher in the cost to India because the transportation and the freights will be higher for India. So, what do you think that how it will affect the transportation system and the traveling and the normal day-to-day life of people?
I break your question into three parts. First, as far as the India-US deal is concerned, I believe the latest news says India is free to buy oil from anywhere.
Okay.
First, the latest news says. Number two, the joint statement of India and US is still yet to come. So there is a speculation of this.
Okay.
That because we do not know what is in and what is out.
But still, if it's true and if you're buying the oil at a higher cost, what do you
I
think
don't.
will be the effect
I
on
look.
Indian transportation
I
system?
I don't think so. That would be the case because India would buy from Iran or Russia or from Venezuela or from America, right? This is a time to see and watch because this at this point it's very vague to say something that no, this would be there and this would not be there
But
because
hypothetically,
it
if
is
it's
it.
there, then what do you think that
I think
what are the
all this answer,
changes we will
the
see into
right
Indian
answer to
transportation?
this would be after year 2026. Till 20, it is 2026 is very unstable year, which I feel personally, and I think it's a wait and watch situation. So what we see or hear, I think it's just a momentary. We have to wait and watch.
But compared to US dollar going high and India is devaluing its rupee on the world level, how this deal is going to be beneficial or not so beneficial to India?
No, so as I said, till we actually receive a joint statement from both the ministries of India and USA, then it can be evaluated what is going to be good for India or
I'm not
USA.
talking only about the oil right now.
No,
I'm
not
talking
oil.
about the trade deal and of imports, considering the US dollar
Yeah, because
and the Indian rupee.
like agriculture products, right? If there's agriculture products, there could be cosmetic products, there could be handicrafts, there could be gems and stones, there can be chemicals, it could be anything. But till this joint statement comes and a government official declaration comes that on what product, what duties are going to be acceptable, how the oil purchase is going to be there, what not. So till this is actually brought to the notice of the public in an official notification, it will be very difficult to, I would say, a gauge or to take up a view on that.
So the recent budget 2026-2027 in India is showing that major part, like around 5,98,000 crore, has been given to the public transport sector into India. Still, there are so many public transport sectors into India which are into losses. Why so?
No, you're talking about the transport public sector because there are very few into public transport,
I'm
private
talking about
sectors.
everything. I'm talking about the container depot to international connectivity to the internal connectivity to everything which is related to Indian transport system.
I think ports are privately managed. A lot of ports are privately now. Even airports are privately managed, right? So these are the profitable areas. Second part is as far as you're talking about the connectivity. I think today India has one of the best connectivity to available compared to any other country.
Okay, it was a very nice conversation with you, Mr. Kartik Kothari. I would just like to have your 5 minutes right now into rapid fire segment, which we have introduced so
Okay.
far. You try to answer my question into just one word. I will be completing quickly this session.
Okay.
So whatever comes first into your mind, you should say that. That's okay. You don't need to think much about answering
I'm
this
not
rapid
used
fire
to much
question.
rapid fires.
Let me ask you for the same. Country with the best transportation system in the world.
Copenhagen,
Country with the best civic sense.
Norway,
Petrol, diesel, or EV, your personal choice.
EV,
One word for Nepal Gen Z movement.
um, no comment.
Okay. Is there any chances of government to shut down into USA into coming time?
No,
No. Okay. If you want to start a manufacturing facility by yourself, which country would you choose?
India,
Um, your experience with human-less cars,
great, is one of the great technology.
BRICS currency or Bitcoin?
BRICS.
Okay. Uh, we are going to implement Ahmedabad with smart AI based signals in future. Beneficial or not?
Surely beneficial.
Thank you. So that was 10 rapid fire questions from me, and we would like to conclude this session. We had a very insightful session with you, Mr. Kartik Kothari, and we would love to have you in future also with us to discuss the new topics on transportation system and
Thank
everything.
you
Thank
so
you so
much.
much for
Thank
this.
you.